Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I hope you're having the most amazing day or evening, whenever and wherever you are catching this from. Welcome to day one. I'm going to give you guys a few moments to jump on. I'm going to bring up my comments on Facebook and just make sure everything's working. Here we go. Tag everyone. Perfect. We are locked and loaded. If you are on live, say hi, let me know that you're here so I can see if my comments are working on Facebook. If you're catching the replay, obviously chuck in the chat box replay. So a few things before we kick off. Voxer. If you haven't yet made it into the Voxer portion of this challenge, please make sure that you do so. There is a pinned post and featured that gives you my Voxer handle and basically tells you how to set Voxer up for yourself. Okay, so get in there. Get in there, because that's where you get like one-to-one support. You can drop in and ask questions. And I feel like as we go through this work and as we go through these trainings, things are going to come up. You are going to have questions. There is stuff that you're going to want to expand on. So Voxer is the place to do it. Now, for the competitive part of the challenge, the competition where you can win the prizes, if you're participating in that and if you're sharing and your Facebook or your Instagram is set to private, I probably won't see it. So if it is set to private, make sure you take a screenshot of that share so that, and then post it on the post that I've got there with the like I'm in graphic. Just so, because I don't want you guys to be sharing and I don't want to miss it and you not get another entry in the draw, okay? For those of you that are not following me on Instagram, I will link my Instagram in here so that you can tag me and follow me, okay? Again, if you're here live, say hi. So far, it's showing me nothing, so that's not great. If you're catching the replay, obviously, replay. So, today we are diving into the energy or the frequency of desire. So, before we dive into that, I want to tell you my story basically of how I found manifestation because I feel like it's going to be quite relevant to this challenge because obviously it was through a challenge. And I feel like it will set a context for you to see why desire is such a potent frequency and why the lack of desire leads us into a place that isn't so good for our lives, right? And a lot of you guys here know me, but a lot of you guys don't. So for those new here, I wasn't always this person. I wasn't always a fabulous coach on the internet. I didn't always have an amazing life, okay? So in about June of 2019, my life was pretty rough, okay? It hadn't always been that way. And I'd done some fabulous things in the past, like run burlesque shows and, had some success in business and whatnot. But things had kind of like a slippery slope downward. It's that age-old story of falling in love with the wrong person. Who here has done that? Who here has had a relationship that kind of like cost them a lot? It was one of those stories, okay? So myself and my 4 children, I've got 4 sons. At the time, we were living with my ex, and my relationship was very, very, very toxic. We were partying pretty heavily in the weekends, sometimes during the week, and he was up to some pretty not good things, okay? And I got to a point where I just needed out of it all. I just needed to be out of this. This wasn't who I was as a person. I'd look in the mirror and the woman staring back at me was a shell of the person that I used to be. I had no desire, I had no passion. Like I was barely holding on for life, okay? And it was just so hard because I didn't see a way out. But a way out was coming, okay? So I asked God, universe, didn't really know much about the universe, angels, like anything out there that was listening, anything out there to come in and save me. But a spoiler alert is no one came to save me. No one came to save me, nothing came to save me, but I was given an opportunity to save myself. I was given an opportunity to actually remember my power and remember that I didn't need saving, that I was the creator of my life. And from that moment, everything changed. So, after a domestic incident in our relationship, we decided to call it quits. Like, that was the end of it. It was over. He left, and I had 12 weeks to find somewhere to live, get some money, and rebuild my life, basically. So, and things went by and nothing happened. There was a period of time where it all blew up in my face and then it just got worse before it got better. But the prayer was answered like a month or so later when I was scrolling on Facebook and I found myself very much by accident in an event for a free 5-day manifestation program. And this lady she was from the UK and she was insanely energetic and onto it and like all in the vibes. And like me as a depressed, negative person was like, who is this lady and what is this? And I'm not even entirely sure quite how I found myself in there, but I did. And the rest is history. Oh, Angela, no comments on my thing yet. That's so annoying, but I can see it on my phone. So, yeah, I really didn't know how I ended up being led there. The tagline was something along the lines of manifest your dreams or manifest your dream life. And I was like, well, my life can't get any worse at this point. So, what the hell? Might as well give this a go, see what this lady's up to. So, it was like a 5-day challenge. So, I committed to doing the 5 days. Like, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. The problem is, that version of me at the time, she was so depressed. She couldn't get out of bed at 8 a.m. to get her kids to school on time most days. And this challenge had me having to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning to catch a live, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. so that I could actually like physically participate in this free workshop. And some way, somehow, I did it. I got up, I got out of bed. It was my first step. And I watched these videos and that decision that I made to go all in on this Freaky Ladies manifestation program changed everything for me. Because I thought the whole concept was ridiculous to begin with, but it really truly changed my life forever. Who here has kind of like a little bit of knowledge of manifestation, or who's just heard of it and just thinks it's just like a bit silly? It's a bit airy fairy. Let me know in the comment section. So the comments of the concepts of this masterclass that I was in, this challenge, okay? It was like, there was like very basic principles of manifestation. It was a lot of like rituals and like things to do, and like she talked about the universe and how it worked, and she talked about one concept called ownership, which we're actually going to talk about in our next training. And that nearly derailed the whole challenge for me. I think it was day one, day two. It nearly derailed the whole thing. I was like, how dare you make me own, because I was such a victim back then, that all of this is my fault, because I was looking at things from fault and blame, and like I wasn't seeing the bigger picture. But I stuck with it anyway, okay? And this is eventually why I became a coach 5 years later. I never wanted to be a coach. I remember when I was doing the challenge, and then I eventually signed up into her coaching program and a few other things, and I was just like, that is not for me. But the clues were there, and it wasn't until like a couple of years ago that I actually was like, oh, I think I'm actually here to like bring what I know to other people. One of the major things that I learned, well, the first things that I learned in there was like the key to actually like thinking positively and believing positive things can actually happen in your life. That seems so simple and so stupid, but it had such a profound effect on my life. I love that, Emma. I love that. So, by the end of this 5 days, I kind of realized, I was like, maybe if I was creating all of these awful things in my life because my thoughts and feelings and my beliefs about myself and about life weren't very good. And I was like, maybe it was my negativity that was creating a negative life experience. And then I was like, maybe I can try on this responsibility thing, even though I hated that thought and I was thoroughly offended by it in the beginning. The thing is it came at such a great time for me because I had nothing left to lose. I had nothing left to lose, and that time, all life needed on my behalf was just a crack of hope. Okay, and this is why I say you don't have to, like, you can doubt it all you want, but all you need is like the teeniest, tiniest seedling of hope for life to get in there and work on your behalf. So, I took a huge chance on myself of changing the way that I was doing things, of being open to new ideas, and it really, really changed my life. And guess what, guys? I'm going to tell you something even better. The manifestation stuff, it worked instantly. And my brain was like magic, my life started to change. I started manifesting like really, really, really small things, like items, parking spots, just little things. Okay. And then my ex and I, all of a sudden, things become somewhat civil. And, he even went away and started working on himself and reading books about manifestation. My business got better because at that time I was so depressed that I'd tanked my business. But I still had a really, really big problem. I was about to be homeless with 4 kids. Now, anyone here that has kids could imagine how much of a freaking nightmare that is. So, no matter how hard I looked for a property, I could not find a place within my budget. I couldn't find a place in the area that I needed to be in within my budget that was suitable for my family or that had space to operate my business, because I had a personal training and pole fitness business. And, where I was looking and in the price range I was looking, just nothing was available. And I will never forget this day. It was Brooklyn's birthday, and we just sat there and we were talking about manifestation. And I was like, let's set it to any amount of money in any area of Christchurch, and just like, let's just dream. So we did. And then we found this house. We stumbled across it. It was like so far out of my price range. It was ridiculous. But it was so beyond perfect, it wasn't even funny. So it had like a house on the front. It had like another house on the back, and it had this massive, massive garage where I could like totally convert that into like a full fitness studio. It was like amazing. So I saw it on Facebook and I called my nana, because my nana came over and she did a lot of childcare for me. And I was like, Nana, I found the most perfect house. It's over the other side of town though, and it's way out of my budget, but there's a place for you to live as well. Now, not long beforehand, my nana had actually like injured her hip. She was on a walker, she was still mobile and driving and stuff, and she was doing a lot of like help for me so that I could run my business. She's always looked after my children. So it was the most perfect thing in the world. Problem was, I didn't have any money. I had 5K in lawyer's bills after that domestic incident. I had like little extra money to finance a move or pay for my big bills at all. We were better off. Business was starting to grow again, but we were still living on fumes. One of the things that I know is the power of this work and how to get yourself out of rock bottom. And not only rock bottom, how to move beyond, 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 beyond. But there's something that I specialize in because that was my story. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to live in poverty. I've hit that time, if like that, I've hit that a few times in my life. But the thing is my mindset had changed. I had everything stacked against me, but my mindset had changed. My belief in myself had changed from that program. And I just decided that I was going to be victorious. I just decided that everything was going to work out. And after that challenge, I literally blindly believed that everything turns out perfectly if I just stayed positive. So that's what I did. I became unavailable for any form of negative thought, for any form of, no, you're not going to make it, you're going to be homeless. I just was just absolutely unavailable for that. I was almost delusional that it was all going to work out. I was delusional that I was going to get the house that I wanted. I focused on, I, I focused on what I wanted to believe, even though I didn't quite 100% believe that at the time. I still had a lot of doubt, but I wouldn't let myself focus on that. I decided that I could have what I wanted. I decided that I created my life and now things were changing, that this was my moment in time. Okay. So instead of dwelling on the negative situation, I just like put all of my energy into hope and faith that it would work out better than it could ever imagine. And now I get to tell the story and it inspires people. So how even good is that? So I went all in on that positivity. I was like insane. I was just like full on positivity. That's all I was doing. Okay. And so obviously this house came up in the very last week. The very last week. But it was way more than I could afford. But it was beyond perfect. Okay. And you're never going to believe this. After I called my nana, we were like, right, let's book a time. Let's go view it. So we did. I rang the lady. I got a time. You're never going to believe what happened. When we went to the viewing, as we walked up the driveway, this is the house that I'm in right now. I'm not going to get emotional. It's so exciting. As I walked up the driveway, the lady recognized my nana. And she calls out, Auntie Jen, what are you doing here? And in a freak turn of events, the house was owned by my nana's niece. Nana didn't know. I didn't know. We had no idea. But God did. Or the universe did. Or whatever you want to relate to did. So obviously we got the house immediately. Like they were like, Nana, Auntie Jan, you're going to be living here. This is going to be great. All I had to do next was figure out the money. A property with lots of dwellings being quite big. It wasn't cheap. And I had $0. No savings. So, I had to figure out the money. And I actually went through quite a few trials and tribulations with this that I'll talk to later in the program because it's one of the things of holding the void. So right before we moved in, I managed to get a 5K loan off my brother to cover like the bond and the moving costs. And then I managed to get 3K off my auntie to do up the fitness studio. So I got us moving. I got us moved in. We were here. We got the house. No idea how I was going to continue to keep paying for it, but I was like, my business is going to go well. I'm going to set up the studio. Everything's going to work. I was holding that vibe. Let me just check my comments. And next minute, I manifested $17,000. So I knew that I would tell you how. I knew that I was owed a little bit of working for families. Like I hadn't been claiming it. In my business, I hadn't been able to because my business, I hadn't done my books, all of that kind of stuff. So I'd hired an accountant to clean up the mess. And I hoped to be like 5,000. Oh my God, if it was 10,000, I would just shit bricks because that would just set me up. It would be amazing. It would pay back the loans, give me a slight buffer, When $17,000 showed up in my bank account, I shit bricks. It was far more than I ever thought I would get. It was like the truest of miracles. And it was like one of the defining moments. It wasn't just the house. It was like a series of events and then that, and then there was more, and there was more. And it was just like, shit, this shit works. This was in a period of months, only a couple of months since doing that challenge. Everything started to change. The more it changed, the more I believed in it. The more I dived into the work. Since then, there has been so many more miracles, so many more wild manifestations. We're going to talk about a few of them in here because it really goes to show that the how is just not important, okay? And a completely transformed person in life since, because I'm not who I was when I first took that challenge. Like, I don't even know that girl. And I always feel like it's been ages since, but it's actually only been 5 years. Just under 5 years. So something I want to highlight here is manifestation is truly miraculous, but it isn't always easy. There were moments on this journey that have been really hard. And sometimes it can be a little bit darkest in the moment before. Has anyone experienced a big manifestation and right beforehand it looked like it wasn't going to land? Let me know in the comment section. Sometimes you have to be willing to hold the belief when it looks least likely. Hold it through the hard, okay? What I've come to realize is there is a period between when you have decided what you want and who you're going to become and becoming the person that has it, okay? Sometimes that period is to test you to see if you can hold your personal power, okay? Sometimes it's to clarify that you do in fact desire the thing. Sometimes life just needs a moment to come together in the background, because what you see in your reality and you judge as truth is only a tiny fraction of what is actually going on in the universe. People, places, events, so many things need to be moved into position for you to have the things that you desire, okay? And sometimes that takes a moment. You have to be willing to keep the faith when it looks least likely. You have to go and decide again, to shift your energy, shift your expectations, and hold the damn vibe. Because the biggest thing I learned was it's who you are when you don't have it, and like when you're in that in between period, that's what dictates your outcome. And that, not only that, that's what dictates how long you stay in that period as well. You know, how big your results are on the other end. So the void is where you become a powerful person, where you master yourself. And on my journey, I've had a few of those. But, you know, as you approach this work and as you go into this work today, I want you to know that if you can hold that in between like it's done, it will blow you away what life gives you. Let me have a look. Job I wanted, needed. That was completely... Oh, interesting. So, over the course of this program, I'm going to talk to you about manifestation, okay? I'm going to teach you it. But I want to briefly explain it quite simply, because, you know, as we dive in further, it's going to become apparently clear how to make this work for you. Oh my goodness, now I've got crazy sun coming into my eyes. You're going to get a complete picture of how this works, and, you know, how to make it work for you, and essentially how to master yourself, because that is the work, okay? Something I want to make abundantly clear here is manifestation isn't something you do, okay? It's not, I'm going to go and do manifestation. Manifestation is something you are, okay? Manifestation is the byproduct of the energy that you're sending out into the universe. So the energy that you're sending out consciously, meaning you're aware of, and subconsciously, unconsciously, which meaning you're unaware of. Sometimes we're unaware of the stuff that we're putting out there. But the thing is everything is a manifestation. Everything is the byproduct of your own personal energetic frequency, okay? So everything in life is dual. Everything has like a side to it. Everything has its match. There is like polarity in all things. How do I want to say this without being too technical? There are like many spiritual laws that govern our universe, and all of them play a part in manifestation. I guess the one that you know best would be the law of attraction, right? Who here has heard of the law of attraction? Let me know in the comment section. Honestly, don't think I need any more coffee this morning. I am so excited. I'm internally bouncing off the walls. So, everything in this universe is energy, okay? It's tiny little atoms vibrating away together at different speeds. And this is what we mean as a frequency. Like, this makes up an energetic frequency. So everything has its own frequency, right? So, like, I have my own frequency, you have your own frequency, the earth has its own frequency, the sun has its own frequency, the coffee in my cup has its own frequency, the cup has its own frequency, like innate objects, trees, everything, but also like feelings, thoughts, words, beliefs, everything has a frequency to it. Does this make sense? Let me know in the comment section. So everything has its own energetic signature. Okay? So you're vibrating away your thoughts, feelings, words, actions, beliefs, they make up the frequency that you're vibrating at. Okay? So the law of attraction is just like a neutral force that is just pairing things of like frequency together. So something to be aware of here is everything that you send out, everything that you release, it always like compounds and it comes back to you in a greater amount. Now this works for money, like all sorts of things. Okay, so the basis of manifestation is that it's not outside of you, it's just your natural way of being. Okay, like whatever you're vibing at is just going out there and it's coming back in a greater proportion to you. Okay, so it's not outside of you, it's just your natural way of being. Like life is a manifestation, your whole life is a manifestation. So it's not something you do, it's something that you are. It's not a ritual. Okay, it's also like not about like praying and then waiting for something outside of you to deliver either. Okay, it's not about giving something outside of you the power. Although like we pray, we can ask for things, and whatever you identify with, whether it's God, energy, source, angels, whatever you want to call it is fine. It's knowing that you are the power. Okay, that you don't just manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. But manifestation is just how life works. Does that make sense, team? Let me know in the comments if you're following. Manifestation is a becoming. It's simply how life works. It's you creating your experience. Okay, unconsciously, maybe up until now, and consciously. Okay, the thing is more often than not, before you come into this work, a lot of what you're manifesting in your life is unconscious. You're not aware of it because you don't know what's going on under the surface. You don't know what's going on in your subconscious. Okay, you don't know what's going on at a deeper level. You're not aware of your like patterns, you're not aware of your beliefs, you're not aware of what it is that is creating your life. Okay, and sometimes we get a little bit wrapped up in focusing on what sucks, so we manifest more of what sucks. Sometimes we focus on what's missing, so we tend to manifest more of it not being there. We tend to focus on, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? And then things don't work. But manifestation is incredibly, incredibly simple. It doesn't need to be hard. Okay, it's just your natural state of being. Okay, the only thing that might be a little bit hard on this journey is sometimes the work that you have to do to become a match to certain things can be a little bit hard. And that's generally because if what you want, what you have asked for, what you deeply desire is completely different from what you've previously experienced, there might be a bit of shifting and shuffling and moving and grooving to become that person. Okay, but that is actually the fun part, because that is what activates the journey of a lifetime. And that's the journey we're about to go on together. My comments have still not started working on my computer. It's very, very, very rude. So let's dive into desire, because desire is the most powerful force in our lives. Okay? At my lowest, I was someone who had given up desire. I'd given up wanting. I'd given up believing that I could have things. And without a desire, I wasn't moving forward. And when the idea that I could set goals and start going after things, and that first challenge was given to me, it was like that was such a defining moment. Such a defining moment for me. The thing is your desires aren't wrong. Okay? Your desires were placed on your heart for a very specific reason. Okay? If you have a seedling of desire, a teeny tiny amount, It is because it's actually already created for you. Okay? It's done. It's signed, sealed, delivered, and backed. Okay? It's available and it's already ready. Your only job, your only job is to acknowledge the desire. It's to say yes to it and decide to move towards it. One of the things here is life will always meet you halfway. It'll always meet you halfway. Okay? Your desires mean something. They are really, really, really important. And I cannot stress this enough. They have a role in your life, a sacred one. Even the most mundane, materialistic, and simple desires are important. And I'm going to tell you why. So, I want to tell you a story about life, about desire, about purpose, and how it all comes together. So, at the very beginning of my coaching career, I was holding a mastermind, my first ever mastermind. It was so exciting. And after a client posted a message in the chat, I got this like weird visualization, like visual response, okay? And we're going to dive into that today. For those that have been here a few times, you know the story. So at the time, I thought it was a little weird. I was just like building my intuitive muscles and stuff like that. Like, I'm quite further down now, so I knew what was happening. I know what was happening now, but I didn't know it at the time. I just thought it was a bit weird, but like I told her what I saw. So I kind of guess it was like a visual metaphor that like popped through about life. But what I know now, because I've had many since, is they are channeled messages. And I collect these and they're literally the building block of my message, of what I'm here to share, of my work on this planet. So what I saw was like dark and misty. And I was standing before a giant puzzle, kind of like in a different realm. Okay. And you know how when you do puzzles, you have like the picture on the box. Okay. You know what the puzzle is, you have it to go off. Yet it still takes hours, days, depending on how complicated it is to put the puzzle together. It's a test. A puzzle is a test. Well, the puzzle that I was standing in front of had no box. Okay. It had no instructions. And to make it worse, it was dark and it was covered in this misty, foggy shit. So basically, I couldn't see more than a foot in front of me. And as I stepped forward, a piece of the puzzle dropped out of the sky. And I found where it went in my puzzle, what I could see, only a little bit there. And then I took another step forward. And I quickly realized that each step forward was a step out in faith in the direction of my desire. Each step towards my desire, a piece of my puzzle lands. And then I've got to figure out where it connects, right? And where to put it. But soon I have taken so many steps that I can kind of get an idea of what my puzzle looks like. But still, so much is covered in mist. Okay, it is such a mystery, and I won't know the twists and turns, and I won't have a clear idea of what it is until I've got like a third there. But eventually I've taken enough steps forward in desire and connected enough pieces that I have some idea of what my puzzle is, of what my path is. And I believe that the puzzle board is like, it represents our lives and our journey to uncovering who we are and our purpose here on this earth. Who here knows who they are as a person? Who here, feels like they're living their purpose? Let me know in the comment section, okay? I feel like this represents where we are meant to be and what our next steps are on our journey. So you have to take a step forward in the direction of your desire to get the next piece. Okay. And with each piece, you still have to figure out where it goes, but it's all connected. So every step forward is connected. Every step forward you take, it leads you somewhere important. Okay. All of your desires, all of them. Okay. You will not know the full picture. Okay, for a while, but as you gain momentum, stepping forward, saying yes, and choosing your desires and going after them, you start to build a picture and eventually you get an idea of what your puzzle is. Yeah, I love it. So what this reminds me of is when we take a step in the direction of something exciting, something we want, when we say yes to our desires, our opportunities expand. Okay? The desire leads you to the next one and the next one, and that leads you to another opportunity, and so on and so on. So each step forward you take, it takes you on an adventure, and eventually you figure out where the hell you're going. Okay? It took me a wee while to figure out where the hell I'm going. I am 38 in a couple of months. So, about to hit the second half of my life soon at 40. But eventually you figure out who you are, like what you came here to be and what you came here to do in life. If you don't desire things, if you don't step forward, you don't get to know that. Okay? The only way we don't get a new piece of our puzzle is if we don't move forward, if we don't step out in that direction, if we don't say yes to what we desire. Okay? If we stay there, if we decide that we don't, desiring is wrong and we're not going to want anything and blah, 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 or we take our piece and we overanalyze it and we're just like, what the hell? Where does this go? I don't think this fits. Throw it away. If we make it mean all the stuff and then make the piece wrong, you get stuck. Okay? You stagnate. You don't move forward. And that doesn't feel good for humans, because stagnation is depression for humans. When we don't allow ourselves to desire, when we don't allow ourselves to move forward in life, when we don't go after something, when we don't have something to go after, we stagnate. And that is what leads to depression. It is a wrongness. It goes against our very human nature. Your very human nature is to grow, it's to evolve. Look at the world. Look at the way we have evolved over time. Okay? So the piece of the puzzle is never wrong. You just don't know what it connects to. You just don't have the whole picture yet. So and like all of it makes up the picture. All of the past for myself, the things, the jobs, the businesses, the things that I've done, all of that has made up my work today. It is all connected. Even the bullshit. Even the bad stuff. So you've got to keep moving forward. Your desires are not wrong. It's just another piece in your puzzle. The thing is that life is constantly presenting you opportunities for your growth. Okay? Opportunities to have your desires. Opportunities to evolve as a human being. Some water. I'm getting very passionate. Then here is the thing. Some of those opportunities are fun. Some of those opportunities are painful. Some of those opportunities are exciting. Some of those opportunities are scary. Some of those opportunities are uncomfortable. Some of those opportunities are lessons. Some are removing of the misaligned people and the things that are holding you back. Some of them are shaking you awake when you have lived unconscious for too long. Some of them are absolutely miraculous. Some are beyond delicious and fulfilling. Some are mind-blowing. Some give you hope and faith. But all of them, all of these opportunities, like good, bad, whatever, they're all guiding you. Okay? They're all giving you the crucial lessons that you need to have, be, and do what you came here for. Not just for you though. It's so that your life impacts those around you. I wasn't just given my desires for myself. The fact that I've chased them and gone after them has impacted many, many, many people. And as I impact people, they impact people, and so on and so on and so on. And it's not just because I'm a coach in the coaching industry. You'll never know the impact that your life has on someone else. We are all deeply connected. Okay? Our lives are not just for ourselves. They are for other people. The problem is, more often than not, we miss this point. We really miss this point, or we get stuck like over analyzing things instead of like taking on board that lesson, taking on board that puzzle piece and moving into our next position. We miss our opportunities when our mindset is focused on avoiding pain, avoiding negativity, of worrying, of what's missing, of what's not working, okay? It's all relevant. Here is the thing. Your desires are leading you to the path for your highest alignment. They are the roadmap to your purpose, okay? Yet, isn't it funny? Our desires are the first thing we are conditioned out of, okay? You are told that it is wrong to desire. You are told that it makes you selfish. You are told that you need to be realistic. You are told that if you ask for too much, you're obsessed with yourself. You are told that if you desire too much, you are taking from someone else. You are taking from the less fortunate. How dare you want that much? You are told that struggle and sacrifice is the way to enlightenment. And guess what? It's all lies. It's all bullshit. It could not be further from the truth. And this is the limited brainwashing that the poor and the middle class receive that keeps them there. Okay? Because it's only the rich or the privileged who dare to desire. But we must also, as a society, paint a very ugly picture of that, so you don't want it either. But here is the thing. Here is the thing about desire. It's a desire that turns a poor man into a rich man. It is a desire that turns an average human being into a Guinness World Record breaker. Okay? It is a desire that creates scientific advancements. It is a desire that fuels our evolution. Okay? It is a desire that changes the world. A desire is the most powerful force in this universe. And a desire will transform your life. And a life without desire is not a life you want to be living. Okay? So it can only be true that desire is good. That your desires are good. That all of them are important. That all of them are valuable. That you get to have the things that you desire. And that it is good for you, but it is good for everyone else as well. Do we get that, team? Let me know if you're following. I'm going to check my comments. Are we following? Who here has noticed in our lives that we are so deeply conditioned out of our desires? That we are told that we are wrong for wanting so much? Who here has experienced this? Who here has noticed this? So, desire means good things will come to you and good things will come through you. How good is that? And when it comes to the frequency that we operate in, we're either operating from the energy, the frequency of desire, or the energy or the frequency of the lack of our desire. So great. Definitely always told you can't have what you want, only your needs. Huge breakthrough. Yeah. But you get to have more than what you need. It is good for you. It's good for humanity. It is good for everyone, because in you getting your things, it's going to move you into the right place at the right time. It's going to inspire other people. Like, say your desire is to have like a multi-million-dollar company. That creates an economy. That creates jobs. That gives Sally down the street like a roof over her head. Okay, there is so much more to just you getting what you want. Okay, so back to where I was. The energy of desire. We're either moving through and from the energy of desire in our lives, or the energy of I don't have what I want, the lack of desire. So what that is, oh, I desire this, versus I want it, I want this, but I can't have it, I don't have it. Okay, and this really comes down to we're either operating from love or we're operating from fear. Okay, because everything is dual. We're either seeking something to gain pleasure, or we're trying to avoid pain. You see where desire is the seeking to gain pleasure? When you're not in desire, you're just living to avoid pain. to avoid suffering, okay? We're either wanting something to feel good or we're wanting to avoid a negative emotion. The thing is whatever energy you operate in, that dictates the outcome you have. So if you are operating from the energy of fear, of like avoiding pain, your outcome is you're going to manifest pain. You're going to manifest more fear, right? But if you can shift into that frequency of desire, into the frequency of love, your outcome is going to reflect that as well. Because something I want to say here is, a lot of the time people have this idea that when I reach a certain level of success, when I get my desires, I'm going to be happy. You're not going to be happy then. You have to choose to be happy now, because the thing is getting your desires doesn't change how you feel, but how you feel impacts yourself getting your desires, okay? And I think that that's why we see and are presented with the idea that a lot of people that have a lot of things are very miserable, is because they haven't clocked this work, where this personal development work, this manifestation work, where we become the person who feels good. We become the person who lives their desires. We become the person who lives in the frequency of love, and then we create from there. Okay? Like I said, most of the time we are seeking experiences, money, and things to change and transform how we feel about ourselves and our lives. The problem with this is we take ourselves with us. So at all of these different levels, we still feel the same. We have to change the feeling first, okay? So, one of the most important things when it comes to desire that I've learnt along my journey is having a desire big enough that it moves you. Who here has a big desire? Let me know in the chat box. A weird tickly throat today, team. I really hope that I'm not catching anything. Although I must say, I have really amazing health. Really amazing health these days. Really. Doing the work, great. Definitely always told you can't have. Now I'll have a chance to find my abundance. Yay! I'm so happy. So the biggest thing here is having a desire big enough that it moves you, okay? This is everything when it comes to this work. So, and when it comes to life, because having a greater vision for your life, you know, it gives you strength. It gives you like this internal fortitude to continue growing, to continue moving forward, despite the things that happen in life that are out of our control, okay? So what I mean by this is when you do not have a greater vision for something bigger in your life, you're living day to day, week to week, month to month, okay? If your biggest vision in life is to survive, you're not going to live a very good life. If your biggest vision is to survive your daily life, your job, to pocket a little extra cash so you can make it on your island holiday at the end of the year, you're barely functioning. You're barely living, okay? You work your ass off, you take a holiday, it maxes out your credit card, and then you spend the entire next year paying it off and doing the same thing so you can have 7 days of peace on a beach. This is how a lot of us live our lives. And it means that we're actually barely living. We haven't even scratched the surface of what we came here for, because you haven't set a desire big enough. Okay, if your biggest desire is 7 weeks off, 7 days off on a beach, your desire's not big enough. It means you're barely living. If that was my life goal, I would be depressed. Okay, it's not enough to move me internally. It's not enough for me to have the strength, resilience, and determination to get up each day and get through life, okay? It's not rewarding enough to give me the motivation and determination to actually grow as a human being, to become a better human being, okay? I'll take the 7 weeks instead. Yeah, me too. One of my big desires is I want to take my kids and travel endlessly for a year or two and see the entire world. And I now have the vehicle, the career that I can do that with. So yeah, if it's not rewarding enough to give you motivate you to, motivate you to be disciplined, to show up for yourself in your life, to motivate you to grow. You're not going anywhere in life. And it keeps you stuck in this loop of dissatisfaction with life. And then you stay the same. It's like same, comfortable, my life is okay. And or maybe you're stuck in that loop and you've set the bar so low that your same is struggle and shit. Okay? If you can set your sights higher than survival, higher than just having enough, higher than just being okay, okay? Maybe higher than just having a little more than just having enough. You will live a very spectacular journey, okay? You will have an adventure of a lifetime. You will create the life that you came here for, and it becomes worth getting out of bed for, worth bumping up a little bit of failure, worth putting in a bit of work, okay? Worth finding out what you're capable of as a human being, worth moving beyond your comfort zone. Because inside each and every single one of you, there was a big desire, there was a dream, okay? Now I say was because some of you may have forgotten that, okay? Many of you have put it to the side because society told you that it was bullshit. Okay? Someone told you that it was silly. Someone told you that you were being unrealistic. Someone told you that you can't do it. And you believed that. Or maybe you decided you became a parent and whatever personal limitation you believe about that. And it just made you shelve it. Maybe you don't relate to your desire anymore. Maybe you think too much time has passed and you're too old, okay? Maybe you've just given up. Whether the dream needs tweaking or not, you need the dream in order to complete your mission here on this earth. So I need you to pick back up the dream. Maybe it needs to change. Maybe you need to revisit desire. Who knows? We're going to dive into this with our homework, okay? But in order to live the kind of life that sets your soul on fire, the kind of life that gives you everything that you want, where you manifest the most incredible things, you have to go after the dream. You have to have a bigger vision than just surviving. And a lot of us are living just to survive, and that's why we're not surviving. Okay. Let me tell you one thing. You did not come here to this earth in this time to eat, shit, work, sleep, pump out a few tiny humans, and repeat over and over and over again. Your life is worth more than that, okay? You came here to live. Since I was a little girl, I always had like larger than life dreams. And at times I've been crazy enough to believe I could actually achieve them. And so I did achieve some pretty cool things. But I remember I've always had like one desire. Like when I was a little kid, I wanted to be like rich and a famous like singer. And then it changed to a famous model when I was a teenager. And then I was like, as I got older, I was like, I wanted to be a famous actress or like some sort of entertainer as such. So I always as a child felt like I was going to do something big with my life. And I kind of I did a little bit with my ballet shows, but I didn't really touch the side. So I always had this desire for something big. I don't know what to do with it. When I gave up my ballet shows and I gave up on desires, that's when my life went very quickly because I stopped wanting, I stopped growing, I stopped moving forward. I decided, I just started living to survive each day, and then I could barely do that. So I've always had these big desires. I always felt like I was here to do something with my life, that my life had to mean more. It had to be more than just getting up, trudging through my day, my ex making me cry, being a not great parent, and then just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. Like, it had to be better than just being depressed all the time. There had to be something more, okay? Now, I will probably never be famous for singing, for modeling, or for acting. Probably still give the acting thing a go, though. But there is still a dream inside of me that wants to be wealthy. There is still a dream inside of me that wants to be known. Okay? And although the vehicle has changed, that desire, that drive was put in me for a reason, because I wouldn't be fucking standing in front of you right now or sitting in front of you right now if I didn't have that drive. Okay? The desire, the drive was given to me. It was to drive me through all of the bullshit to get to here and to there and to there and to there. Not just for myself, but for you and the next person and the next person. Okay? It drove me through all of those ideas to get to here. Okay? And, you know, I'm at a point in my life at coming up 38 where my puzzle's looking pretty darn clear, you know, and the drive that I have now is to be known for my work. The drive I have now is to be a positive force of influence on this world, to help people set themselves free. Like the more, the better. You know, I want people to live amazing lives. I want them to break free of this limited idea that they can't have what they want. This limited idea that they have to live a life of poverty and not one of abundance. You know, I want to see the average person become a powerful force of good in this world. Like, I want to see the underdog win. I want to see people live the most abundant, inspired, fulfilling lives where they create whatever they desire. Okay? And I stopped wronging myself for my desires a long time ago. So, you know, for any desire of my heart comes forward, it leads me further into this, okay? Even the most silly, even the most materialistic, like the Gucci shoes, those things, I love that shit. Okay, you know, and it wasn't until I like found out human design, guys, if you haven't yet, study your human design. Like one of my purposes in my life, I think, and it's written in my human design, is to bridge the gap between the material plane and the spiritual plane, to basically show people, like through my materialism and through my desire for more, to show people the path to spirituality, which is quite interesting because it's very much what I do. And you know what? I've manifested a lot of my desires so far, and I want more than anything that for everyone else. So with that, I want you to wrap up, and I want you to give you some like introspective work so that you can really like pick back up the dream. Sorry, I'm losing my voice now. Pick back up the desire. Okay, so let's go into our journal prompts. So I highly recommend doing this by hand if you can get your hands on a journal or a piece of paper and a pen. I find that when I do that, what flows out so much more potent than technology and keyboards, but by all means, if it's easier for you to type, do that. So I want, with this homework, for you to, what's happening with my thing? No, it's working. Okay, I've got some internet connection problems, but that's probably because the kids are home and they will be rinsing it. So it's time to let yourself dream and desire. It's time to decondition the belief that your desires are wrong, okay? And that to want is stupid. It's time to, you know, reconcile this belief with the idea that your desires are sacred, holy, and good, okay? So in a journal, or Word document, whatever you prefer, I want you to use the questions that I'm going to give you to bring clarity, to, you know, figure out what it is that you desire, whether it's your deep desires, your material desires. Like, let yourself frickin' desire the things. It's going to be amazing. It's going to change your life. So I've got a pile of questions that we're going to go through. And then what I'll do is, once this live is finished in like a couple of minutes, I will create a guide for it, and I will save it in the guide section, and also there'll be the corresponding homework as well for replays, because I always suggest replaying things. You hear so much more. The more you listen, the more you hear, okay? So here are the questions that I want you to work through. My first question is, what is your current relationship to desire? So You know, are you someone who allows yourself to desire? You dream big, you're like locked in, you're harnessing the power, you're moving with it? Or are you someone who said that your desires are stupid, frivolous, that you're not allowed them, that it's bad? Like, what is your current relationship to desire? My next question is, are you ready to pick your desires back up? Now, you might be someone who allows yourself to desire, but you might be going through a voidy period where you're like, it hasn't happened, you know, maybe it can never happen, and you've put some desires away, you've put them down, and you've made them smaller. Are you ready to pick those back up? And then the best question in the whole wide world, what do you want? What do you actually want? And, you know, feel free to make a whole ass list because you'll be surprised what happens. Now, my next question is to clarify that list. If nothing was off limits and you could create anything that you desired, what would you choose? And then tell me why you would choose that. How would the desire make you feel? What are you seeking? What are you being driven towards? Now, what is that dream that you put on the shelf, killed, decided that it was too much? Is there any part of you that still wants that? Is there any part of that dream that is still relevant for today? If there is, or if there is like, no, but I actually feel this is what my overall vision, write it down. Okay. So, they're your journal prompts. Your exercises in your journal is to craft a vision of the future. So let this take its time. This will build over time. Let the pieces of your puzzle fall into place. Let it reveal yourself. But I want you to start thinking about it. I want you to open up to the idea. I want you to be open for it to drop through. Okay? Any questions before I jump off? Just a reminder, if you're not in the Voxer chat, get yourself in there because that's where we're going to be popping off and diving into this stuff further. I'm going to give you guys a moment to ask any questions. I really wish my comments worked on here. Dismiss. No questions have popped through. Okay, wonderful. Just drop your questions in Voxer if you have any. I'm going to now save this in the guide section along with your corresponding homework. I hope you have an amazing day or evening, and I will see you on Monday, New Zealand time. That'll be Sunday for the rest of the world. Okay, ciao.